Hey folks, hope you're well. Max here from ToneShift. First of all, I want to say a massive thank you to everyone who's recently subscribed. And of course, before that, my last video done extremely well. And the reason I'm doing this video, really, so there's a couple of comments on that one, just to discuss about what kind of gear I use when I play live and why I make those choices for the gear. So today I thought I'd dig into that. And we'll start with the guitars. Yeah, so today I'm just going to look at the guitars. I'm going to do it all at once because that'd be a massive video and I just don't think anybody needs that, do they? So what we'll do, we'll just look at what guitars I'm currently using, why I'm using those guitars, why I'm not using the other guitars. I've got loads of guitars, and in fact, I've got far too many guitars. You ask my girlfriend, she'll tell you. Yeah, so when I go out gigging, I take 2 guitars. I don't think there's any need really for more than 2 guitars on the kind of thing that I do. So generally I'll take something as a backup, but also just to give myself a little bit of variation throughout the evening. For me and the audience, really, you know, sometimes they get a little bit bored if you're just using one guitar. I don't know if they do or not. I like to see, you know, people playing different guitars and different sounds and one thing and another. Both guitars I'm going to play into either a helix or whatever I'm taking with me. Like I said before, I'm playing the Helix Stadium at the moment. We'll do a video on that, by the way. Somebody asked for a look at showcase and how I set up some amp patches. So I'm going to go through all that. Too much for today, so we're just going to touch the guitars today, I think. Okay, so yeah, I take 2 guitars. One, like I say, one for a backup, one for a bit of variation for myself. And I tend to, I don't swap part way through spots. I generally just play a spot, whether that's a half an hour or 45 minutes. Then the next spot, I'll pick a different axe up and I'll go from there. So my bread and butter has always been a single coil guitar. So from day one, the first electric guitar I ever owned was a Strat. It was a Squire Strat. I believe it was a Japanese Squire Strat from way back when they were cheap. Paid for it on a weekly basis out of a catalogue, I think, something like that. Absolutely loved it. Of course, did what everybody does, sold it for different things and swapped it around. It ended up with nothing in the end, but I always loved Strats, you know. I remember the first time I ever played an electric guitar, it was a Strat. And so I was always going to buy a Strat, weren't I? So over the years, I've had various Strats, and I still have got them. I've got Squires, I've got Fenders, I've got American Fenders, Japanese, I've got Chinese, all sorts of ones that I've got. And I've also got a mix of Strat copies. And that's really what I want to just talk about straight away with this one. So Guitar One, folks, that was one that didn't come without any controversy when it first came out. Now, it'll be clear by the end of this video that I'm a real PRS fan, perhaps a fanboy or whatever you want to call it. But the guitar I've chosen to play more than anything else, I think, on my live sets is the PRS Silver Sky, in this case, an SE version. Now then, why this guitar? Well, let's look at it. You know, it is let's be honest, we know what this is. We know it's a Stratocaster style guitar. It's a John Mayer Stratocaster. It's kind of does a Strat thing with little refinements that really make a difference to, and I'm talking about me personally, obviously. But they really, really do make a difference to the way that you play. It's got a beautiful neck carve on it. It's got 3 absolutely fantastic single coils, standard S-style, Strat style controls, little features like the way that the jack socket there's domed to make it easier to plug in and one thing and another. It's got vintage style tuners. Now you may have seen it. I've got a video. This one sits in the studio most of the time, to be fair, and I've got a dragon fruit coloured one that I take out gigging generally. And that one I've put the lock-in tuners on. Now, there's nothing wrong with the tuners that come on the standard ones, but in terms of being able to change a string a little bit quicker, the PRS lock-in tuners are fab. You know, they're absolutely great for that. String through, tighten them down, and away you go. So dead useful for gigging. The other modifications I do on these is I use shallow strap locks, and that's really all I do to these. The other guitar I'm going to show you in a minute, I've made a couple more modifications on that, but nothing major and nothing, and they're all really just quality of life changes for me. They're just a personal thing that I want from those guitars. This particular one, I think it's built in 2021. It's a 2022 model, I think. Yeah, and I can't remember how much these are, but you can pick these up for $650, maybe even, you know, go on second-hand market and get one for far less than that. You know, the beautiful thing with these, they are superbly light. They're like I've got a bad back, and so when I'm gigging, I need a nice light guitar. Now this is it. These are so light, they're incredibly easy to hold all night. So let me just bring the spec up on that for you. We'll have a just quick look at the. I'm not going to go into any massive detail with it, but I think it might just be worth having a quick look. So the numbers, right, folks. Yeah, so Silver Sky. Let's have a quick look what we got here. So it's Indonesian guitar, and of course it's just a Strat. You've got 3 single-coil 635JMS pickups there. Now they're pretty cool pickups. These pickups are really, really good. I've noticed that I can use any combination of them, and I can use them in isolation as well, which on quite a lot of Strats I can't do. You've got your 5-way selector there. You've got your volume, tone and tone, and of course your vintage trend there. And you know what? It's a straightforward Strat, and you just got to accept that's where it is, I suppose. Let's have a look at top end then. So top, it's quite a vintage end. This is where it differs from a Strat quite a lot. So you've got those vintage tuners that John designed. Got a synthetic bone nut, which is really good. We've got an 8.5-inch radius neck, which is a bit different to what Fender use. I find it's bang in the sweet spot for me. So it still feels vintagey. It's lovely under the hands. The neck profile, as I said, feels really good. There's no problem with that at all. It doesn't choke out on bends. I think John's is 7 1/4, the American one. You know, it is liable to choke out on stuff unless you've got a really high action. That don't happen on this one. And the frets, they quote them as medium frets. They're absolutely fine. They just feel very Fendery once again. So, and I think you'll find with this guitar that's quite a lot of what it is. It's a refined Fender. So the Silver Sky SE, of course, absolutely fantastic guitar. I can't recommend it enough. This is not sponsored. I'm not trying to sell you anything. You play whatever you feel comfortable playing. For me, that's got 3 absolutely superb pickups in it that sound terrific. And I've had, like I say, I've got lots of Strats. Now, quite often there's some pickup positions I just don't use on them because I don't like it. When they did these pickups on that we went through on the specs, they're really, really well made, and I can't recommend them enough. So that's enough of that. Next guitar. So when I said you're going to probably think I'm a PRS fanboy, you probably will now, because this is the PRS DGT, once again, SE model. In gold there. Again, once again, I've got both. I bought the one, can't remember what it's called now, but the one with the bird inlays. This is the Moons. So what this does, this covers your Les Paul, SG, humbucker territory. And I'm suggesting that this is going to be suitable for things like heavy metal or stuff like that. It just isn't. It's just not. The pickups aren't built for that. They are a traditional low output humbucker. I'm not quite sure what they're based on. I know they're David Grissom's specific pickups, so whatever they are based on. I've got a feeling he said they were based on an ES335, but I could be totally wrong there. But in any case, this guitar took PRS years to develop with Dave Grissom, and you can tell when you play this, you can tell this is very refined guitar. And I've made a couple of modifications on this one, so just so you know. So I've got the locking tuners on that one too. And this is my actual, I tend to take the gold top when I go out. I've got the strap locks again, the shallow strap locks, just because they're the ones I use. What else have I done to this? Oh yes, I've got I've changed the knobs there, look. So, and that was partly for aesthetics, but also because it's easier to grab for the coil tapping on this. I don't know if you can see that they're far easier than the offshore ones that come with it. And again, these are both made in the same factory, I believe. So three-way selector, 2 humbuckers, absolutely gorgeous, and it covers pretty much everything I'd need from a Les Paul or a SG, which I've got, you know. But I can tell you once again, incredibly light for a mahogany maple cap guitar. It's incredibly light and very, very well made, you know. And I once again can wholeheartedly recommend, and I'll say it, keep saying it. I'm not sponsored. I'm not trying to sell you anything. There's no affiliate links. There's nothing. There's no reason for me to say anything like this to you. All I can say is that this won't disappoint you. And the other nice thing about this one, it's got really chunky frets on it, which are, again, with David Grissom's specification. They remind me a lot. I've got a 1959 Epiphone Les Paul, the outfit that they did on the limited edition, and that's also got quite chunky frets. So it makes me think that perhaps, you know, that 1959, 1960 Gibson model had this kind of thing. So again, that probably leans in towards that ES era. But I absolutely love this, and anybody that picks it up and has a go on it, I've got a few friends that have tried it, and they all love it. Both models, both variations. So I've got the Tobacco Burst one, McCarthy Burst, I think it's called. Yeah, so there's that one, and that would be my humbucker guitar for the evening. You know, this one does the rock work, whereas that one's a little bit more blue. Sorry, the SE the Silver Sky there's doing most of the jangly stuff, you know, the funky pop type stuff that I do. Yeah, you know. So I suppose you're thinking, well, if you've got all that other stuff, why aren't you taking your Gibsons? Why aren't you taking your Fenders and one thing or another? And I love them. I absolutely love those guitars. They were obviously dream guitars, bucket list guitars, whatever you want to call them. They're fantastic to own. One of the things has got to be the weight. I've got, other than my thin line Telecaster, and I love Telecasters. In fact, my Nashville Telecaster was my main guitar for quite a long time. And before these came out, before the Silver Skies came out. And the reason for that is it sounded great. I love the way they feel in the hand. You know, that particular one, that was a deluxe Nashville. It's a Mexican-made one. I can't remember. I think it's got something like a 10-inch radius fretboard, so just really, really nice. I don't know where I was going with that, but it's so heavy. You know, that I haven't got a light Telecaster. All my Telecasters seem, well, they are, I suppose, because they're a slab of wood. There's no contours or anything on them. They're not like a Strat in that way. But even my Strats, you know, they Fenders tend to weigh a little bit more than PRS do, and I think that's even the SE line. I mean, I've got an American PRS, and it's not quite as light. I've got a 594. It's not as light as one of these. It's definitely more along the lines of a Les Paul, and of course it is, because that's what it's actually. The McCarthy is trying to be a Les Paul, and he does a fantastic job once again. I'm sounding too much like a PRS fanboy, and I don't want that to be the case. But I mean, I absolutely adore the designs that Paul comes up with and his team over there, and they just suit me. I'm not suggesting they'll suit you, but you know, if you get an opportunity to go into a shop and have a whirl on one of these, A/B something like a DGT against a Les Paul or an SG, and just tell me, you know, let me know what you think, or maybe if you've already done it, let me know what you think. So that's that. Yeah, so what I was saying about why don't I take them out? Well, one, I'm not, like my Gibbos, I'm not taking my Gibbos out to a pub anymore. I'm not doing it. There's too, you know, it gets a bit rowdy every now and again. I don't want to get them damaged. I know they're only guitars, I get all that, but I don't want them breaking, do it. And the other thing is, like we've talked about the weight, you know, with the versatility, you know, of these guitars, having the coil tap. You know, having the coil tap on the DGT, it really does make it. If one of these, if I snap a string on a Silver Sky, I could pick this up, put it in coil tap, and we're away again. It's no problem whatsoever. I've played all night on this without even tapping it. To be fair, because you can just turn it down a little bit. One of the things you're probably already aware of if you know about this, but this it's a little bit backwards on these, so you've got it takes a little bit of getting used to, I suppose. So if you're in bridge position, this is your volume pot. The one nearest to you is the volume pot, and again, that was a Grissom requirement. This volume pot here is actually the neck, so that's for when you're in the neck position, and then of course you've got the low friction tone there. But yeah, you know, that takes a little bit of getting used to. But once you've played it for half an hour, you've cracked it. You've done. You know, you've got to get them out. Yeah, get your guitars out. Which is another thing. You know, I've got a few different guitars, and I swap them out every now and again. Always tend to take either a humbucker and a single coil guitar, or occasionally maybe I'll take a P90. I've got Les Paul Special, an Epiphone one, the TV yellow one. I'm looking at it now, you can't see it. There's that one. I've got Custom 24, so I've got quite a lot of different guitars to choose from, far too many really. The point being is you don't need all them, and you don't need to spend a lot of money. This is what I'm getting at really in this video. These now are available next to nothing. I say next to nothing, it's a lot of money if you ain't got it, but for a gigging tool, you get one of these brand new for £700 I think you'd probably pick one up on second-hand market for maybe £600. Can't go wrong at that, can't go wrong. If you're only going to have one, which one would you have? I'd probably go with single coil, if I'm honest. I'd probably go with Strat just because I'm so used to it, and I don't do anything super heavy, so there's never a need for these pickups. But I actually love playing them. They sound absolutely fantastic. I'll put a track at the end of this video so you can have a listen to these. But yeah, so dead cheap for this, dead cheap for that. They come with a gig bag, not decent enough gig bag, get you a few years out of that, no problem. You know what, if this falls over and somebody falls on it or whatever and snaps it in half, yeah, it's a bastard, but end of the day, yeah, get a new. I've got one on stand, I've got another one. It's not the end of the world. It's not a 59 Les Paul, is it? You know what I mean? And it's not a 63 Strat. So, and that's how you've got to look at it, I think, folks. Like I said in the last video, we're not going out for big money. So when we do get gear, we've got to make sure it's you've invested well, so you don't have to spend loads and loads of money. But when you do invest a bit of cash, make sure you put in the right stuff. And like I say, I play these I'm not playing them into an amp, so that's out of the equation. I'm playing them into a helix generally. That's what I take out. It's my floorboard of choice. Do a video on that another time. So once again, folks, they're my two choices of guitar, axe, armory, weaponry, whatever you want to call it when I go out. Let me know if you agree. Do you think there's a better axe for, maybe it'd be different for what you do? I don't know, but stable, simple instruments. Like I said, it's basically a Strat and a Les Paul, but with my bad back, they're better off. These lighter versions play fantastic, super cheap. That's what they are, folks. Look, really, really appreciate you watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you got something from it. I'll leave you with a little track with a bit of playing on. Let me know if there's anything you'd like to see. Like I said, I'm going to do a video. Somebody asked for a video on Showcase. I'm going to do that. Somebody's also asked for a video about beginner setups for playing solo. So I'll do that too. Might take me a little bit longer to do that one because I'll need to get all the gear prepared for that. But keep watching, folks. If you're not subscribed, really appreciate it if you would. It's really, really good to see you all again. And don't forget to comment down below. It's always great to chat with you. I try and read everyone. And it's lovely to talk to you guys. You're a great bunch of folks. See you next time. Bye-bye. So, yeah, so all I've done now, folks, so I'll leave it. Also, quite a similar. So yeah, so all I've done now, folks, so I'll leave it.